Hello everyone and welcome to my Necromancer healer build for Craddle, updated for the Deadlands patch. I have not changed that many things, but still I have changed a few sets, so let's go right into it. For our statistics, I just have had my food, so this is unbuffed on the back bar outside of Craddle. So as you can see, my health has moved a little bit. My max magicka is still more or less sitting at 33k on the back bar, 34k on the front bar. My resistances, on the other hand, have moved up quite a bit. Keep in mind this is unbuffed. On the front bar, let's have a look. As I said, 34k max mag, 31k unbuffed without buff or any other buff. Max health, 22k max stam, so a little bit more than what I used to have, 50k resistances and 1.7k magicka recovery. If I slightly buff up, I almost set at 2k magicka recovery on the front bar and slightly over 2k on the back bar. I will also provide you with a screenshot of my sets, of my statistics fully buffed up in Craddle right away. So for the sets, let's go right into it. On the front bar we are once again wearing the perfected Master Restoration stuff, which helps us providing recovery for ourselves and our group with our healing springs. On the back bar this time we are wearing Wretched Vitality, which is the new set that's craftable in the Deadlands. I will also at the end of the video provide the location of this crafting station. It's craftable, so it means you can make it on any gear, so light, heavy or medium. And we are wearing it as sword and board on the back bar with defending on the dagger and sturdy on the shield, allowing us to block and stay in the fight a little bit longer. Our monster set is once again Magma Incarnate, still on infused max health. This hasn't changed since my last build, with impenetrable on the shoulder, medium with maximum health for the enchantment. On the body we are wearing two pieces of Wretched Vitality, which is the chest in heavy infused tri-stat enchantment, as well as the legs in heavy infused once again. If you want more blocking power, you can change these traits to sturdy if you feel like it. And for the last piece of Wretched Vitality, we are wearing the amulet, which is the enchantment is reduced the cost of magicka based skills, and the trait is Triune, which is like tri-stat health, magicka and stamina. I used to run Arcane to have more max magicka and was running on a 36k max mag build, but I feel like Triune is better because it balances out my stats, and since I'm running sturdy, it allows me also to have more stamina for blocking. And obviously the reduced cost of magicka spells, it just synergizes so well with Necro, because you tend to build a little bit less into recovery and a little bit more into cost reduction. At least that's what I like doing, so it balances out pretty nicely. For the second set I'm running, it hasn't changed, it's still Gossamer. So we're wearing, for the Gossamer, we're wearing the belt, the gloves, the shoes and the 2 rings to have our 5-piece active at all times, which also helps us balance out our armor passive, since we are running 3 heavy, 3 light and 1 medium, which means our armor passives and like buffs and debuffs are pretty much evened out. For our skills, I haven't really changed anything since my last build. So on the front bar we are still running Expunge and Modify, mostly for the reduction of all abilities cast, since it's the bar where we are casting the most abilities, with Rapid Regen and Illustrious Healings pretty much being our spammables. Then we have Radiate and Regeneration. Like, I think I don't need to explain this, it's like your spammable. Illustrious Healing we needed for Master Restoration stuff, it's still a very strong AoE heals. Energy Orb, it's our flex spot. If you want to play with the totem instead, you can feel free to change for whatever else your group needs or wants you to run specifically on Necromancer. I just like Orb because it fits on pretty much everything, anything and everything I'm doing, and it's also a big help having this nice synergy for your allies. It also helps keeping up Gossamer quite a bit. Brain Tatter is our easiest way to keep up Gossamer, and it also increases our healing down by 3% for just being slotted. It's almost as strong as having minor mending on your bar all the time. Our ultimate on this build is Reviving Animation. This is a bit tricky because you can change it pretty much to anything you need. I change this very often depending on what who I'm playing with and what the other healers are running. For example, if I'm playing with my friend and he's on Warden, I will swap this out and play Colossi for the extra damage to help secure the kills. If I'm playing on a little bit of a bigger group, we don't have any other Necromancer, or the Necromancer uses Colossi, I will always swap Res. Or if my friend is playing a higher damage build than his Warden, like he's Necromancer or he's Dragon-knight for example, I will also slot Resurrect, or Panacea, which is the Restoration Staff ultimate, depending on what I'm fighting. So that's really like, it's up to you what you want to run depending on the situation and if you have a group or not. You just have to keep in mind, if you're running Resurrect, people and you're not in a group, like it's not a coordinated resurrect you're trying to do, people need to accept the res for it to work. So if you're trying to res Randys and they're not looking at the screen, they can deny the res and you just wasted the most expensive and potentially strongest ultimate in the game. So that's something you have to be aware of if you're playing solo or if you're playing in a group. On the back bar, which is a sword and board bar, nothing has changed much since my last build, so we're still playing with the Spirit Guardian, which is an amazing heal to just keep it up. Like, it's here and it's amazing just by existing. You need to keep it up at all times because it helps. It gives you 200 recovery with your passives, as well as it takes 10% damage for you. So it's pretty huge, and it's active on both bars. So if it's up and you're on your front bar, you still take 10% less damage. It's not, you don't need to have it slotted, it needs to be active. Dead in Pain is pretty nice. It helps me have a very easy flow of ultimate, which is very helpful since now I'm playing with Resurrect, which is very expensive. And while it's slotted, you also reduce the damage taken by 3%, and for each corpse you eat, you gain major protection, reducing the damage you take by 10%. This is very useful because A, it's free, it heals you a little bit, so it will keep Gossamer up for yourself, and it helps a lot when you're in this very heavy stress situations with lots of enemies around. It makes you tankier. I tend to use my corpses if I'm in a stress situation, always for Dead in Pain rather than for Brain Tatter to help survival. Summoner's Armor, this is your armor buff. This is This skill you always need to use it first because it also reduces the cost of your Spirit Mender by 15%. Elusive Mist is your go out of jail free escape ability. Resistant Flesh, that's your burst heal on the back bar. I like having it there because it increases my physical and spell resistances, and now with Wretched Vitality it helps with sustain a lot, and I will explain this in a minute. And our last ultimate is still Reviving Barrier. You could potentially maybe swap it for Sword and Board ultimate, but I feel like it would be a waste, so I'm just sticking with Barrier because it's just too strong not to have. And the 10% regen is really enjoyable. For our champion points, nothing much has changed. I haven't changed my CP at all, since it still works. The only thing I would potentially change is maybe take out Steed's Blessing for liquid efficiency, but since I'm a scrub and I don't have enough CP, I just stick with it for a while. Our blue CP, which is probably the most interesting along with the reds, is still Duelist Rebuff, Unassailable, Resilience for the crit resistance, and Ironclad for the overall direct damage mitigation. This blue CP helps you get very tanky and stay in the fight longer. And for our fitness, we are still using Expert Evasion. This will save you so many times and it will make your stamina management way easier. Slippery is also nice. It's not as strong as it used to be since Dark Convergence isn't as strong. It used to be very nice when you had Dark Convergence just putting you out from behind the walls. It used to be like a huge lifesaver. It's still very, very strong. That's why I still have it slotted. Just not as strong as it used to be in my opinion. Boundless Vitality is just a comfort. I don't necessarily need it. I just like having a little bit more health. If you feel comfortable with running on a build with 30k health instead of 33, you can swap this out and take the Bastion CP for having stronger shield. It will affect your barrier. And Celerity because movement is king and movement speed is always required. For our attributes, we have everything into Magicka. Now on how this build is working and how it's different from what I did before, I will demonstrate you straight away. If you see, my recovery here is 2.8. If I'm buffing up, it's gonna go to 2.1 pretty nicely. I'm out of combat, so it's not gonna change. However, I'm in combat now. If I armor buff on my back bar, you see the little icon 50 seconds. This is the main buff of Wretched Vitality. And you'll see my regen is already going up. If I'm buffing up with my ghost again, it's already at 2.4 on the back bar, 2.2 on the front bar. And what's more, if I burst heal myself, oh my god, I will get the minor buff of Wretched Vitality, which increases my reg even more, and I go back to almost 2.6 on the back bar, while still having very strong balanced out armor running 3 light and 3 heavy. This is without running any potions. If I'm running this with a potion, so potion. Oh, come on. 3.2k with a potion. On the back bar. And on the front bar, 3k recovery. This is the power of Wretched Vitality. This is the reason why I'm running it, because my recovery is just so strong. Even my stamina recovery is at least fully buffed up with a potion, it's at 2k easily. It helps me survive so much, and it helps me also running out, having smoother armor passes, because as you know, we have light armor penalties. I mitigate them by running only 3 of those, as well as the heavy armor penalties by running also only 3 of those, but they get balanced out with light armor. So I guess it's like the best of the 2 worlds. And yeah, I feel like this was pretty much it. For the food, it hasn't changed, it's still Bewitched sugar skulls. Where is it? All the way up. It's still Bewitched sugar skulls. If you don't have access to it, you can still take Longfish Pathway. It's not as strong, but it's still pretty decent. And for the potions, I'm running Tri-stat potions. I like the double recovery for mag and stam. Health is like a luxury, but since I'm a vampire, it's gonna be bad whatever I'm running. So I mainly just run it for the magical recovery and the stam recovery. You can potentially also use Essence of Immovability if you're getting into heavy fighting, but that's why we have Mist Form. And since with Theta you can still heal around you while being in Mist Form with the Theta and the Ghosts, you can just use Mist Form to escape the CC, reposition, and then heal from a safer position. And yes, I think that's pretty much it for this build, so thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoy it. If you come up with other ideas on how I could potentially make it better or different, or if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Bye bye!